Hey everybody, welcome to the Enhance Your World show. I'm your co-host, Chris Alba. Larkin is going to be joining us shortly. And today we are talking about gratitude. I call it the master principle. We It's been taught in many different ways, and there's all these different practices to um, condition ourselves to be grateful. And I think it's easy to be grateful for the things that we want, the desired outcomes, the results, the met expectations. Um, but what happens when we are faced with a block, an adversity, a challenge, and um, um, an unexpected result, which causes pain, right? What happens then? Are we grateful for that? And to me, and for me, through this life experience, um, that has been the most healing for me, when I can be grateful for the things that I wasn't expecting, when I'm grateful for, when I can practice gratitude for things not working out the way that I intended or expected, whether I was conscious of it or not. Learning to um, be in flow. Um, Sometimes we have these learning lessons, and where we tend to block ourselves energetically, is we're trying to logically and rationally intellectualize what happened. And the more we can tune into our heart and intuition, I feel like the deeper the lessons come, and the more um, authentic the teachings. Because a lot of times, at least in my experience, I've would study a new technique. Oh, well, this technique isn't working for me anymore. It was bringing in results, but now my life is completely, um, you know, different than what I was wanting it to. So it had to be the technique. So I kept me searching, kept me seeking, kept me looking outside of myself for a solution. And it wasn't until I started having the dreams about the gauge method and practicing these principles, that I came into these deeper truths of why these principles are so important to our daily lives, and how all the philosophies, the religions, the spiritualities, the sciences, um, all those things that we've developed within our human consciousness, so we can express our ideas and our concepts and our perspectives to one another, um, creates the reflection, right, of whether we're living in true alignment within ourselves or not. Um, you know, when we're taught how to live based on societal standards, and if we don't harmonize with that completely, because it's not in our soul's truth, it's in our egoic conditioning, it's in our egoic identity, but it's not our soul's truth. And that's a deeper yearning that I think that this show and so many other teachers and healers and visionaries and mystics and all these labeled light workers, all these things that all these labels, these roles that we play within the human drama of our conscious duality, um, helps bring light and shadow at the same time. It's contrast, it's dichotomy. And when we're grateful for both, that is when we maintain our integrity of peace, of love, of joy, of happiness. And we're going to fluctuate with, you know, emotions, because that's what they exist for a reason, and that's to give us information about where we are or aren't in harmony with our higher self, our soul self. The egoic conscious mind that's programmed to live out the programs 95% of the day through our subconscious. As we do shadow work, as we do, these different practices of mindfulness, of spirituality, of getting back to nature, however that looks like, we develop these deeper awarenesses, these deeper truths, and it creates this curiosity like we had as children, before the age of 7, when we could entertain ourselves, and create these stories and these plays of imagination, and we could play whatever role we wanted to live in, for a short period of time. And as adults, we have that same opportunity. The roles that we play are the ones that we choose to continue to play. And the more we surrender the roles of victor or victim or hero, or however you want to identify yourself in life, the more you can actually know truth beyond the egoic mind. And it's scary, and it's the void, and it's unknown, and it's the unlimited possibilities. It's the abundance of life. It's the universe knows more than I do, which can be intimidating to the ego, especially in the beginning parts of their journey on this path of self-discovery, self-enhancement. Some say self-improvement, but we can't improve the self. We can reduce the self to some degree, so our natural self can emanate past our masks of egoic identification of how we play life, and when we are aware of it's how we live each moment of life that creates the vibrational waves of magnetism. And the more we can be in love and understanding and compassion and unity, the more we can see multiple perspectives, whether it agrees with our heart or not, or agrees with our mind or not. That's a great awareness to have. But the next step then, and this is where gratitude comes in. Good afternoon, Mark. I think this is where gratitude comes in, is you're given an awareness that you didn't know that you needed to have. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever had, as a kid, got it like, Christmas time, everybody's excited about gifts or birthday presents or whatever. And then you got a bunch of clothes, right? And you were like, oh, thanks. Like, clothes. I was hoping for, something fun. I was hoping for a new toy. I was hoping for this, that, or the other, but I got this other thing. And, I know that in the teachings of my family, it was like, you got to be grateful for it. You got to be grateful for it. You got to be grateful for it. And that force of trying to feel something that wasn't naturally there, made it hard for me to actually step into that without shame, guilt, or fear. Because my authoritarians were telling me that I needed to be somewhere that maybe I wasn't necessarily at in the moment. And that creates a level of separation within our conscious awareness, and as children, when this happens to us, we live these programs out in our adulthood, and we don't even realize it because we've been so conditioned, that we're not even aware of it. It's just on autopilot. And getting an intentional practice of gratitude helps us acknowledge, accept, and allow awareness to come in that we weren't maybe properly prepared for. And this can happen in our relationships. This can happen in our health. This can happen in our job. I mean, I know so many people that I helped start businesses with throughout my life that, their stories were, I was in this job that I hated. I got fired or I got laid off or something happened beyond their control. And all they could do is pivot, um, into into a different uh, timeline, if you will, where they're not the employee anymore, but now they're taking control of their life. They're maybe living out their passion and their purpose or whatever it is. Or maybe it's just a business that generates revenue like they were hoping, or whatever it is. They have a why and they're moving towards that why. And the more we move towards that magnetism of what we want, letting go of the things that are no longer generating life force energy, the more flow we have to go on to something else. I'm learning a lot about gardening right now, and working with plants. It's something that I've always been curious of, but not necessarily always taken the time to practice. But I've changed that over the years, of course. Each year I invest more and more in time, which gains more and more awareness. And one of the things is a lot of times when you have a leaf that's been chewed up by a bug or something, if you snip it off, you're saving that plant life force energy, so it can put its energy somewhere else, not trying to heal it. And that's what we can do within our egoic roles that we play in life, is we can assist, we can influence. Because if we force, if we try to control, we try to do these things that aren't in natural order, we're going to create more resistance. And the more resistance, the more opportunity we have to practice gratitude for the things that are in our control and beyond our control. But at the same time, which leads to more awareness, which is always part of the natural unity of our growth and evolution, you know. Um, and it's challenging sometimes not to, want to prove a point or prove a stance or prove your way is your way, or anything else, but to somebody else, because that makes us feel included and supported and encouraged. And sometimes when we're not getting that external validation that we're doing a good job, because that's what we've gotten conditioned to do, right? As good citizens, we get rewarded. If you're a good student, you get good grades, and good grades mean you're going to get a good job, or you're going to get to go to a better college. And this is how subtle all this is we just go about our daily lives not really questioning these things, but then we're off just a couple degrees, and it takes sometimes a life of a tragedy in our life or a traumatic experience to shift our perspective, because we weren't open-minded and hearted prior to that experience. But through that pain and that healing process, we learn these deeper truths about ourselves, who we truly are, who we want to be, how we want to show up for ourselves and other people. And I think this is part of, to be frank, what we're missing as human beings is we don't go past the identity of what we perceive as a problem. Or we only look at one way as a solution to a thing, when a lot of times surrendering will stop that energy just by not supporting it. If it's not within the natural order of things, it will die off. And that can be for relationships, businesses. I mean, if we quit giving life force energy to corporations and invest in our community run businesses, we can in turn shift the power back to the people rather than the elites that everyone think are the problem of what's causing all these problems in our planet. And the it's not that they are not playing their part, they are, but we're supporting them with our currency, with our life force energy that people trade their time for. In whatever way we do, we trade our time or energy for this currency, this piece of paper that we've created this value on, which is a fair way of looking at a generalized way to exchange energy, because the challenge with barter sometimes can be in the negotiation process. I don't need a fur coat in August in the desert. It's probably not going to serve me very well, and it's going to be more of a hindrance on my journey than then I bet I might need it later on in my journey, right? And that's where we can use our mind as a tool to have foresight about what we think is going to come down the pipeline, and how we can influence our life's energy within ourselves and other people to help shift that outcome. If we stopped as a society investing in plastic soda bottles, for example, the industry would have to change. Otherwise, it would die, because it is an artificial man-made system that the economy, our politics, all these things that we've used through our communication to be able to work as an organized yeah, I agree, Mark. It can get cold. That's why I kind of hesitated there for a second. It can get cold in the desert at night. But and it, and we just never know. I mean, just sometimes it's hard to create stories that don't also contain a paradox, because that is the truth. Everything is a paradox. There's your way, my way, our way, and finding these ways we've created. Oh wow, thanks, Merle. A coyote coat. All right. That would be a fashion statement for sure. And what a beautiful bet you it's beautiful in its own way. For those who um, walk in those traditions, and it's not a social crime, right? To wear natural products, because some people have challenged with that, right? And that's where we have to just be aware. Do I feel okay wearing this? When challenged, how am I going to respond? How am I going to react? As a teenager, I wanted to stand up for equality and justice, and I walked with some different groups that was the goal, but they were also there was a lot of violence, physical violence in these things, and I learned through being a part of that and having my own experiences that violence, fighting for anything, does not create peace or peaceful resolution. It's by seeing each other's perspectives. It's by understanding that we've all got to this moment of present moment, our own way, and the way that we can move forward is by collaboration and communication and comprehension of our old ways into our collective new ways, for a more sustainable outcome. Because what our ancestors had to go through to get us here was learning how to overcome the physical environment, and because we had lost the ancient ways, and why ever that happened, or that's philosophy, and I welcome you to go look into that for your own truths, because I'm not here to speak why it happened or whatever, but I'm just trying to share what we know. And what we're aware of is, it used to be about survival, and the quality of your land. If you couldn't farm, your land wasn't farmable, then you were really in a world of hurt, because they didn't have these systems that we've created, these grocery stores, these distributions where we can send food from all over the world. And that can be a good thing. However, there are also trade-offs, and that's the paradox. And when we become open-minded to various different things, we can see how everything we create is supposed to grow and get better and evolve. And if it doesn't, then it just becomes obsolete. We don't use it anymore. It's like using a wagon wheel to our street tires now. They've just evolved. Similar concept and idea, but through our development, we moved into this different thing. Now the question that we have is, how do we dispose of them back into nature in a harmonious way, so we're not creating this collective dis-ease of our garbage and trash? We see it everywhere. I don't know how many people are desensitized to it now, but everywhere you look along the roads, there's garbage, and we do that as a humanity. It's not our animal brothers and sisters. It's not our plant brothers and sisters that are doing this to our planet. It's us. And I bring these awarenesses up because this is part of the awakening process. And when we can be grateful for these things that we may or may not have a personal hand in, but collectively we are creating this result, we can create solutions for ourselves to help bring back the balance of karma, so we can come back into alignment with our Earth Mother, so we can come back into alignment with our brothers and sisters from all over the world, without judgment of where do you live, what color is your skin, what imaginations do you like to believe in, what things do you like to do, and find ways to come into unity with that, come into alignment with that, with one another, and raise the vibration, because that is bringing like the batteries of our human cells right together, and that's bringing more energy, and the grander and diversified our community, with the intention of harmony, of unity, of oneness, of completeness, of wholeness. That's what we work within. And within those structures that we create these rules. We created the laws. Maybe not us personally, but you understand how the system works, because we play this system. Maybe we don't have a full comprehension of it. I know I don't, because I'm just one human being and I'm not a part of it all. So through my own personal experience, I haven't experienced it. But I'm grateful for what I'm aware of. I'm grateful for what I'm not aware of, because other people can help inform me of what I don't know. As long as I remain open and grateful for those things. But if I can't be grateful for new information, then I'm going to get defensive. I'm going to say, don't share that with me, because you might pop my bubble. You might make me think differently than I used to. I might identify differently than I used to. And now what's going to happen to my ego? Because, oh my God, I've developed this ego, this sense of self, of control and containing this identity for so long that it's sometimes painful to let go of. And then when we finally do, and we start to blossom into this new reality, and using gratitude as the catalyst, right, of of being grateful for the challenges and then being grateful for the relief of those challenges, because we've healed, we've moved through it, we've grown, and that gives us a bigger container. So a lot of things don't trigger us as fast or as easy as it used to. We can hold more compassion, we can hold more empathy and sympathy, and all these different things, peace within ourselves and within our relationships, and understanding that everybody has a journey, everybody has a story to tell, and they're going to tell it from their perspective of how they were affected. And you can either say, yep, I see where I played parts in that, and I can see how I made these missteps, these mistakes, or I had a misunderstanding, and I would like to apologize for those. Let me own it. Let me acknowledge those. Now that I have hindsight from that, let me own that. And now let me work on shifting my thoughts, my feelings, and my behaviors, because as a conscious creator, I have the ability to do that. So let me work on that. So now I can be more, I can become more than who I've been. Thank you so much, Mary Lee Clark, for this comment. I'm grateful for you and all your teachings and your time and your compassion, and your devotion to our humanity. I mean, I am who I am because of who I've surrounded myself with, and I'm so grateful to have walked with everybody that I have, even if it's been for a short period of time. They've changed my life forever. And I mean, I look at all the people on this podcast, Mary Lee and Jean and Mark. I mean, you guys are vital to me. I'm so appreciative and grateful for you guys being in my life and walking your path and doing what you're doing, because our society, our planet, our humanity, all those things are shifting because of the efforts that we are doing and not doing, right? Because that's the whole thing. That's the whole picture. Our ego wants to control, force, go, 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 go. And our soul understands that we can't force things. Thank you, Mark. I'm grateful that I helped change your life as you have mine. And that's Aini, man. That is sacred reciprocity, and gratitude is one of the ways that we get there. Even when it's something that we don't want to hear. I know one of the things that have helped me move through things is hearing somebody's truth and just accepting it for where they're at. It doesn't mean that they might not change, that they might not have a change of heart or a change of mind and want to come back and have a conversation. But, if somebody is not wanting to walk with somebody, then, the faster we can let them out of our lives or let them go on their way, the better we all are, because there's less resistance. And I do believe there is something tried and true about our personal free will and choosing to, stand firm and say, I'm willing to work through this. I'm here to overcome these limited experiences of our past, because I want to be better than I was back then. I think it was Martin Luther King that said it, but I've also seen where other people have credited themselves for saying, or that other people have credited them for saying it. But most, I think he said most men die at the age of 20, but we don't bury them till later in life. And why is that? Well, people stop dreaming in themselves and the possibilities of what they've can be in life, to accomplish in life, because they've bought into the conditioned reality of go through school, find a good job and be taken care of. Well, we don't live in that world anymore. That world is an illusion. The fact that there's all these billionaires and millionaires and people are having a hard time putting food on their tables for their families tells you that there's something out of harmony. Because I can't say wrong or right, because wrong is just an unmet expectation, right? You did me wrong. You did something that I wasn't expecting and it hurt me. Okay. You did something right. You met my expectations. Thank you. And that's where the power of gratitude is, because if we can own that, if we can be grateful for both those polarities of duality and then communicate that, we all have the opportunity to grow in our mind, in our hearts, and within our physical actions. And that's what I hope to inspire within my lifetime of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm serving the way I'm serving and how I'm showing up for myself and my family and the community and those that I serve and those that I work with as a coach and as a healer, however you want to label those things, because to me they're labels that allow me to identify and play a role, that I develop skills to do so. And so it's in alignment and integrity with my character. But I'm more than just that, on both sides of the spectrum. So, we're all on this healing journey. We're all on this evolutionary thing. And, they say once we heal ourselves, then we get to heal others, including our ancestors. Thank you, Raven. I'm serving truth, and and I really do appreciate the support and encouragement. You've seen me through a lot of dark times, my friend. And I really appreciate it. And it was interesting because, new people showed up when I thought the people that I had walked with for all these years were going to be my rock. And, all of a sudden I met this new guy, Mr. Mark Thomas here. And, he showed up to be a true friend, and I really appreciate it. We haven't even known each other a year. We met at Sundance last year. So it's those kind of things that open us up to the abundance of unlimited possibilities. We don't know. We're not smarter than the universe, right? And, for me, I think consciousness, and is both masculine and feminine, because, as Mama Lorenzo shared with us in a retreat, we all have moms and dads. So who's the creator's mom and dad? Because if we were made in their image, then that's what it is. And, I honor the traditions of our natives who say, the sky is the masculine, brings the light of awareness, of information, of consciousness to our Mother Earth, who provides us the nourishment and the resources to live this life. As we're growing these gardens and as we're growing food and as we're doing these things, we realize that how beautiful the system of nature is. And, when we can step into that, harmonize with nature, with our true nature. And that does include our egoic selves and the matrix and, all that, because we made that up. That's part of our nature. It's when we walk out of harmony between those two dualities that we create suffering, that we create unease, and we create dis-ease. And when we can work in gratitude and appreciation and acceptance for all of that, we create less mental and emotional blocks. So we recover faster. It's easier to rejuvenate our energy. All right, Marilyn. Yeah. When, well, we're gonna be eating some squash soon. They've been popping up super quick. I'm super blessed. It's only been a few weeks, and we're getting quite a selection of squash. So, but yeah, I'm excited to be able to enjoy the rewards of that effort and that energy. But I also know to leave it the hell alone because nature's got it. I just go out there and make sure that the bugs aren't eating it, and nature, and ooh, I haven't tried blossoms, but I've heard good things about that. Um, and make sure it's got water, and make sure it's got the proper nutrients, and you know everything else is beyond my control, and it's so relaxing to know that, and not have to feel like I have to force it to do something that it's not supposed to do, or I'm supposed to make it grow faster or grow bigger or have more fruits, or whatever it is. It's just the allowance of I reap what I sow, and that harmony, that balance. Oh man, when you can get in that frequency of gratitude, just life is just so wonderful, and so um, sometimes you want to say it's effortless, but it's not effortless. It's got less resistance, and that's how you're on the right frequency, you're on the right path, right? If there was such a thing. If we're talking to ourselves like we should, we could, we need to do this or we need to do that, and you're trying to motivate yourself and convince yourself of doing something, you're currently not in line with that. You're not in harmony with that currently. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think Marilee is living in harmony, right? And doing the best we can and making sure everybody gets what they need um, to continue on. You know, the greed of having more stuff than other people and whatnot. I'm not really. Um, you can use this information for that, and you'll acquire it. That's why they sell it. It's the law of attraction. And want you to dream bigger than your reality, because if you're dreaming bigger than what you think is possible, well, then they're going to be the solution to your answer. And if you go through enough programs, you do enough things, you do eventually realize that the commonality is you, and the tips and the techniques and the methods will only work if it feels right for you, because you're doing it for the right reasons, beyond just your creature comforts, because that will only last for so long. It's been my experience, when I focus on my creature comforts, once I acquire them, then I'm like happy to have them. I'm grateful for them, and I want to enjoy them. And then whatever I was doing to bring that frequency of vibrational attraction in, sometimes stops, because I go into a different purpose, or I go into a different way of thinking, or I go into a different project, or whatever, and then that fades away, because again, it's not permanent. Just as we've been talking about the garden isn't permanent. You have to work on it all the time. If you just let it go, it's going to do its thing. It's going to run its cycle, and then it's going to return back to the earth where it came, because that's part of the cycle. And then it gets to start all over again. And we have that same opportunity. in life and in conscious awareness as we let go of an identity, we let go of a way, we on the physical level, maybe we stop a habit that we really enjoy, but maybe it's not the best for us, like eating sugar or smoking or, whatever it is, being socializing on social media too much, whatever it is that's taking your life force and not investing your life force. And you shift that into a different way, you're going to get different results. And it doesn't have it's been my experience when I try to force it, it's not my will, even though according to my human design is unbreakable. And I can tell you in the experiences that I've had, that's true. And I've also learned that will to continue on when it's not worth continuing on anymore has led me to a lot of pain and suffering, because I couldn't change an outcome because it was beyond my own being and my own belief, and there was nothing that I could do to shift that. And becoming aware of that, being grateful for that, even though all those experiences have been super painful, and they lasted for months, they lasted for years, they lasted for decades. When I finally came into that acceptance and that awareness, it fell away naturally, easily, and without a whole lot of negative side effects. And meaning there wasn't drama, there wasn't, bad issues. I mean, from drug addictions to drinking to, lying to sharing a perspective that brought people towards something that I was hoping to create with them, and using my words and using my visions to entice investors and people to walk with me, because I painted a reality that was prettier than what they were living, and they believed in me. And sometimes I didn't believe in myself. Sometimes they didn't believe in themselves, whatever the cause. It just it wasn't the perfect cake recipe. So it didn't turn out the way we were hoping. And that was a beautiful teaching. And the more I can be in gratitude, the more that you can be in gratitude, the more that we can be in gratitude and appreciation and acceptance of both the pleasures and the pains that we get from our human relations and our relations with our natural world, the more harmony that we can create, the more unity we can create, the more balance that we create, more peace. It's not... I'm trying to stay away from the word label love, because it's being manipulated and exploited to separate and divide our egos. I don't like that. So I try to stay away from that. Self-love is just honoring yourself. Loving someone else is honoring them as they are and your relation to one another, no matter how challenging it is. In fact, the more challenging it is, the better opportunities that we have to actually prove the strength of our love, prove the strength of our fortitude, our gratitude, our appreciation, all the things that we say we want to be as human characters. But it's not until those opportunities show up and we choose to actually be it that actually proves the level of our beingness, however you want to look at that. I love you too, Mark. And I mean, and that's I don't know. It's what's coming through today for me. I mean, that's the fun thing about this show, and sharing these concepts and ideas. I was just talking to Larkin before the show started, so I was expecting her to come on today. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to share unapologetically and openly like I have. And if I offend some of you, I'm sorry, and you're welcome. I hope there's a lesson there for you, and I think the gratitude is the key to truly understanding that we're all human beings doing the best that we can with what we've had, what we've carried from the past, where we currently are, and our desire for a higher outcome, a higher future, something to look forward to. Some people just look forward to their vacations every year. Some people are looking for internal stuff. Absolutely, gratitude's the key. I think it's the most important principle and practice that we can have, on and off the mat. It's something that we can carry with us each and every day and every moment. And when we notice, as the observer of our thoughts, when we notice our thoughts are not a frequency or a way that we would like them to be. Maybe they're being a little gnarly, a little nasty, a little down, whatever. Just saying thank you for letting me know that there is something bothering me here. What is it? Why do I feel this way? Why? And not making it right or wrong, not judging it. Like, I shouldn't think this way. No, I am. I'm observing it. Thank you for letting me see the truth clearly. So now that I know, now that I'm aware, now I can actually do something with it, which means change my thoughts, change my environment, change my habits, shift. We we're unlimited creatures and together, and we can look back in history and we can see that in many different examples, whether it was a positive or a destructive outcome. That again is just part of the totality of truth, and it's all good. And step towards it. Because when you step, I was talking to somebody the other day about plant medicines, and sometimes in your visions, you're met with some dark, scary stuff. And it's been my experience and what I've been taught through these experiences and through working with people and other teachings, that when you look at these scary things head on, face on, and get curious about it and say, well, why are you here? What are you trying to share with me? I know you're trying to get my attention. That's why you're coming to me scary, because it's going to make me pay attention, because fear is a great motivator. But what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to share with me? Those demons will turn into angels or loved ones. And it's pretty powerful. Thanks, Marilee. That's a heck of a compliment. No, and I hope, and I appreciate the awareness. Really, I truly do. And I just can't stop expressing, how grateful I am for it. Just as Mark says here, you know, it's absolutely that, and sometimes it's hard right here, to let people have their experiences, right? Because you want to prevent them from having to go through some things. So we want to give them our advice or our opinion or our perspective of how they could avoid a pitfall or whatnot. And if they're open and receptive, they're going to listen, and that might help them and be beneficial. But if they're not wanting to hear us, they're not wanting to listen to what we have to say, they think they got it and they got it figured out, then let them go have their experience. Because if you do convince them to go your way versus their way, if it doesn't work the way they expected it to, which it won't, chances are they're going to blame you for that. They're not going to take responsibility because they listened to your advice, more often than not. But if we just hold space for them and let them go have their experience, and, you know, when they get wounded, we hold our arms open for them, give them a big hug, help mend their wounds. You know, that develops trust, a deeper understanding. And to me, those are the friends that and family members that I want in my life. You know, they want to protect us. They want to protect you from making a mistake, but they're going to love you enough to allow you to have the mistake so you can actually get the full lesson that you were supposed to get. But either way, they love you, and they're going to be there for you, even if it's just to help you pick up the pieces. And then you move on. And that, you know, bonds that are forged through those adversities, those are really powerful allies in the thing that we call life. Hi, Larkin.
Hey, Chris, you were not on my broadcast, my friend.
Oh, shoot.
I set it up for us and I waited for you.
Oh my goodness. And I got online and I refreshed it and didn't see anything. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was all set up, ready to go. Well, here we
are. Wow. Well, geez. Well, thanks for doing that. I'm sorry I wasn't there to join your podcast.
That's okay. Keep going. I'll just pick up on yours. I did my own, so.
Okay. I mean, I was about to wrap up, so
it's fine. I've already done mine, so we're good.
Okay. Well, is there anything you'd like to share here while you're here?
Nope. We should definitely do it again. Because this is the most important thing we could ever talk about.
I agree.
And on mine, which I eventually got cut off, or I wouldn't have even been here because I didn't even know you were on.
Okay.
I think when we do this again, you know, we'll talk some about Eckhart Tolle and some of the great teachers and their ways of sharing how if you do one thing, accept the moment as it is and do gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you do nothing else, that will transform your life.
Right.
That's all.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, appreciate everybody's time today. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for those who are watching the rebroadcast.
Chris, actually, no, I wasn't late. I actually started the broadcast. Chris just didn't find me.
No, I struck out on my own, I guess. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Enhance Your World Show, our Facebook channel, the Enhance Your World Show, and Larkin, all Larkin's groups. Larkin, your groups are open for registration as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to register really. You know, I mean, there's groups and pages. You know, if you just go to my Facebook, you'll find it. I also want to remind everybody, you know, if you have friends that want to learn the power of prayer, is July 7th. Does that work for you, Chris?
Yeah, that will work.
We're still going to do the prayer sphere. And my hope is that you guys can take that beyond what we do and begin to apply that in your daily and your weekly, not just your prayer, but using it really as a mode of being and a mode of thinking, So that's going to be coming up on the 7th of July as well. So you guys can learn, really the difference between regular thinking and manifesting and actual prayer. So just keep that in your books and I guess check out both of our pages for fun events.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mark. You too. Bye-bye.